All right, this is a video if you missed some class and you weren't sure how to start your Notan cut. I realize I've started here, but I'll just talk you through what you need to do. So once you have your sketch all designed onto your nice black paper, you're gonna get your white paper and put your square down. Now you're gonna need a pencil for this because we need to show where our square is going to sit. Every time you glue a piece down, you need to fit your large square back into these little brackets we're about to draw. So at every corner, I'm gonna draw a little bracket, and that's just showing me exactly where that black square needs to sit as I glue down my little pieces, and we will just erase all the pencil lines afterwards. Because we are going to constantly be cutting out of this, we are going to make sure to line up our square every time we glue an item down. So I already have it started on this side, and you can see I'm working on my R2-D2. But for this demonstration, I am going to be starting with a shape and then going from there. So I'm gonna kind of pause on my R2-D2 and show you how I might start my X-wing. Now, every single piece of paper that we cut out, we are going to save. Mine is insanely detailed because I go crazy if it's too easy, and this is more fun for me. But yours might not be this detailed, but we're first gonna start by cutting out the entire shape of our just like our main shape so that we can flip it and see the symmetry. Now, as I cut out my X-wing, I chose to use an X-Acto knife because it was a little bit difficult to cut out with scissors, but you are welcome to use scissors if you find X-Acto knife challenging. So I went ahead and made sure that it was nice and tight, held it like a pencil, used a mat to cut on, and went ahead and cut out just the main outline of my X-wing. So let me just pop it out here. So every single piece of my paper is saved, nothing is thrown away, so I want to make sure that I don't crumple anything and don't, you know, just have good craftsmanship and everything. Here is my little X-wing, so I'm going to move this. Now to place my X-wing onto my paper, I'm going to put my large square back inside the brackets. I can put my shape back in as well, so it goes like this, and then I'm going to flip it over my line of symmetry. So I'm gonna make sure that stays within the brackets, don't bump it, and then I'm gonna flip this over so that my X-wing is faced in this direction, making my whole X-wing. Now I have other details within my X-wing, like the shapes within a shape, and so I wouldn't want to glue this down quite yet because I still have more to cut out of it. So I am going to cut out a few details within here that will flip back into this space here. And I do need to cut those out before I glue everything down within that shape. And so if I need it, I can get an envelope, I can write my name on it, and if class ends early and you need a space for all your tiny pieces, you have them all connected. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out some more shapes within here using an X-Acto knife and trying to be nice and careful as I do that to keep every little piece that I cut out so that I can then flip the image. Now I've cut all my tiny pieces out of this part of my X-wing, and so I am going to be flipping them back. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this original shape back inside, so it's almost like a puzzle, it goes together. And then I'm going to be putting all of my shapes down inside. Oops, I have this backwards. So I am going to be lining up the edges of my box, and I'm going to be using the shape of my X-wing to glue my little puzzle pieces down inside here. So I'm going to show you how that goes. When I use glue, some of you have a tendency to use way too much. So when I taught my kindergartners, I said dot, dot, not a lot. We're not going to put any glue near the very edge of my shape. I am just putting it right in the very center with tiny dots. Now, if yours also is stuck, feel free to close it, kind of clean it off, open it back up. I'm making sure that I'm going to glue it down on the right side. Dot, dot, not a lot, so I'm not letting anything pool and I'm not getting too much. So I'm using the tip of the glue to kind of spread it around. So it's really a light coverage on just the inside of the shape. And then I am going to be placing this down on the white paper within my little puzzle piece. So I'm recreating that shape, but this X-wing is still free so that when I'm done gluing all my tiny pieces in, I will simply flip it over and glue it down as well. So I'll show you how that works. All right, so now I've glued all my tiny little shapes within a shape, but my major X-wing shape is able to come off still. And then when I flip it and glue it this way, I will have perfect symmetry because I used it as kind of a template to glue all those in the correct spots. So that is a way to, oops, I forgot this one. I'll get him. Little piece on the other side because I have a shape within a shape within a shape. So I have a tiny, tiny little piece that's going to be symmetrical right there. So I'm a little bit of a crazy person with this just because I find it really interesting to try to do kind of really detailed shape work. But really the long and short of it is the same technique. So you're cutting out your shape, you're putting your large square down inside your brackets, you're flipping it over the line of symmetry, and then doing any shapes within a shape, and you're flipping back and forth so that everything is perfectly symmetrical. At the very, very end, when you're all done with your images, only then are you gluing down your large square since you're done cutting out of it. And then we are erasing all of our pencil lines.